We are now recording, and I will go live in a minute. Good to go?
Sweet.
All right.
Let's do it.
All right.
Where's the wardrobe?
Okay. Makeup. Hello. Today, we have Jerry Mitchell, who is going to talk about healing through sound.
I'm going to offer some sound advice.
Oh,
Sorry,
the dad jokes.
I can't open my mouth without dad jokes just falling out. Nasty habit.
Yeah. So what made you want to get into this?
I don't know that I can pin one event to tell you the truth. I've been interested in sound, harmonics, kind of other methods of therapy for some time, really.
Yeah.
I sing,
Mm-hmm.
and so as I've worked with that over the years to get the tones right and, think about going into like voice acting as well, working with different frequencies of my voice,
Yeah.
it kind of lend itself well into the sound therapy with, all the different things that I've got now, the sound bowls,
Yeah. Yeah.
the Tibetan bowls, the crystal bowls. I've got drums, as you know, because I've got
As I know. Yeah.
loads of drums throughout the house.
Yep.
So it's the mixture of the rhythm, the sounds, and the frequencies really that will have different effects on folks. And all of that kind of together said, you know what, I should probably go figure out what I'm doing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Which is always a good first step. So I went and got certified. So at the moment, I'm just a level 1 certification. I'm working on my second level, and then working on the certification in singing bowls as well. And there are several others down the line. But I want to make sure that I can give back.
Oh yeah.
And that's where I am right now, is the
That's
giving back stage.
That's fantastic. That is fantastic. What if you had to kind of state your position on certain frequencies?
Yeah.
Are certain frequencies better for certain types of healing, better for certain kinds of mental states?
Yeah, certainly. In broad terms, your lower frequencies are the more calming ones to help center you, because the lower the frequency you get, the closer you are to the frequency of the earth. And so that helps to ground you quite a bit. The higher the frequency, then you're going to be focusing more on the mental clarity, the emotional response to things, and then, of course, in a minute we can get into the solfeggio frequencies as well. But in broad terms, the lower frequencies are the more calming. The higher frequencies are those that will help to invigorate, motivate, and have the mental clarity in there.
Okay, so would it be safe to say that the lower frequencies kind of resonate with some of the physical body, and maybe the higher frequencies connect more to the mental body, or the mental?
Well, so I'll give you the great answer of, well, it depends. So that's my favorite answer. So jumping into the solfeggio frequencies.
Yeah.
And I'll give a brief explanation of the solfeggio. So solfeggio was created by a monk, I don't remember the dude's name, Guido, actually, around the...
His last name wasn't Sarducci, was it?
It was not Sarducci. I think it was Guido of Arezzo. He was an Italian monk, and musician. So what he had done was set up the 6 point scale, if you will, the musical scale.
Okay.
And from there, the solfeggio frequencies came out of. So they got their name from the first one, soul, or not, excuse me, not the first one. So it's, you've heard the do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do.
Yeah.
That originated with the solfeggio frequencies.
Interesting. Okay.
It's changed syllables over time, but the 6 original solfeggio frequencies then have different frequency levels,
Okay.
going from the do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do, and so it'll have that full octave. The full octave was discovered later, but that range is what is used. 528 is largely believed within the sound healing community that it will repair DNA, and so it interacts with your body on the cellular level.
Okay.
Whereas the next one up, which is 639, will help to repair relationships, the different aspects within love, like, interpersonal
Connection.
love,
Yeah.
connection with folks. Yeah,
Okay.
exactly.
Okay.
So it depends really on which ones you're dealing with.
Okay. Do you find that the same frequency works the same on everybody, or does everybody
No.
have a resonance kind of like?
Yeah.
Okay.
So everybody's got their own, and that's one of the things. As a matter of fact, I brought my questionnaire thing with me because I can remember that I've asked these certain questions. And one of the questions
Yeah.
that I ask folks is, listen to the different frequencies that I'm going to play. So that's the introductory. I'm going to
Okay.
play these frequencies.
Yeah.
Which one do you connect with?
Okay.
And so
Okay.
I stopped one day and went, what frequency do I connect with?
Ooh.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
And so
Okay.
I happen to have brought the bowl. This is one of my crystal bowls. It's made of 98% quartz.
Yeah.
And
it's green for
and
the
it's
heart
green for the
chakra.
heart. That's exactly.
Okay.
So, which I found was funny because I am probably more centered around the heart and the root together.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's a 350 hertz.
Okay.
So it's a calming tone. It's a nice warm tone. And that's the one that I kept going back to this bowl
Because that's your
when I
kinda
was playing.
happy
and
place
it was
with
my happy
sound?
place,
All right.
which is good for me to know.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Because if I'm doing a sound therapy session, then I'll know, I shouldn't focus on that one just because that's what I'd gravitate to.
Yeah. Yeah.
But other folks will gravitate towards higher frequencies.
Yeah.
Well, matter of fact,
I'm curious to find out if someone's comfy tone changes as they age or as their perception changes. You know, that's
Yeah.
a really curious thing to
probably
look into.
that I haven't been doing it that long to kind of study the same client over time.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I would guarantee that the tone that someone connects with at each session will also tend to vary depending on their mood, what's
Ooh,
going on
okay.
in their life,
That makes sense.
the different things that they need within them.
Yeah.
And sometimes you'll have a tone that actually tends to conflict with you. It
Ooh,
feels
yeah,
like it's
a dissonance
conflicting.
and you're just it's uncomfortable.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
You've got a harmonic dissonance, and a lot of times it is viewed that if there is that harmonic dissonance, that is actually the part that needs the healing, because otherwise you would be in harmony with each of those frequencies. But I'm
That's fascinating.
yeah.
Okay,
So
cool.
all of the different aspects I'm still trying to make sure I account for when I'm talking to somebody.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, right, what's your session, your individual session profile?
Yeah. Yeah.
What do you need? What are you having a conflict with right now? Are you having a writer's block?
Yeah.
Are you having difficulty with intimacy or relationships? Do you need more mental clarity? Do you need more focus? Just all of these different things
Yeah.
will then drive me to which tones I focus on more
Okay.
during the session.
Oh, that's fantastic. Okay.
So,
Very cool.
yeah.
All right. Um, are there certain tones that relate to each chakra, or is that kind of flexible as well?
There are. So each chakra does have its own tone as, an established one.
Yeah.
So I've written down. I have it written down because while I'm decent with numbers, I'm also kind of getting up there in years, and so this is my portable memory, my notebook.
Yeah.
I'm still old school, and I have it all written down. So I've got notes. Oh, there's my tongue drum and my crystal bowls.
Yeah.
But within each of those, what
Mhm.
I've done was to equate. So the
I see.
each chakra
Yeah.
color, and the where the chakra is located, and then the frequency of the bowls that are there.
For each bowl. Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
So for each bowl, I measured the frequency
Yeah,
from
yeah,
the
yeah.
hertage, if you will.
Hertage.
The hertage.
That's what I'm calling it from now on.
Yeah. So if you get smacked with a frequency, you can say, "Oh, that hurts."
Feel like I should have a
You're
rim
welcome.
shot button.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yes, they do have that. But
Mm-hmm.
that doesn't keep you from using other frequencies at each chakra, depending on what the person needs.
Yeah.
For instance.
Okay. Okay.
So.
You had mentioned earlier about like the placement of the bowls on the body.
Mm-hmm.
What are the frequencies? I mean, I guess it would be the same frequencies listed there if you had placed the crystal bowl.
Yeah. So I don't place the crystal bowls on there mainly because they're very large.
Mm-hmm. Heavy?
And they are heavy. Yeah. I mean, here I'll hand you this one. This is one of the medium size ones, and so it's weighty,
It
right?
is a bit weighty.
And if you had that on you, then it would be more oppressive. So when I do
guess you
the
would focus
sessions,
more on the weight instead of the sound.
you would, yeah,
Okay.
and so that would tend to
Okay.
distract you from it.
That
But
makes sense.
but the smaller ones,
Mm-hmm.
so the Tibetan hammer bowl, and hold it up here. There we go. I got to find the camera. So the smaller Tibetan hammered bowls
Yeah.
are better. You can place them on the body.
Mm-hmm.
I like to hold them so that I have a better cup
Okay.
at the bottom, and then prime the bowl, and then you can place it near or up against. So if you turn your hand over, then you can feel the frequency coming through my hand.
Oh, it's like little electrical charges.
Yeah.
Oh, that's fantastic. Woo.
So depending
Okay.
on where it is, depending on what
Yeah.
frequency, depending on what you need,
Yeah.
then each of those placed at different places. Maybe not directly on,
Yeah.
because still as a small bowl, it's
It's still pretty
still
heavy.
pretty weighty.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So what I forgot to bring, I've got a non-slip glove,
Yeah.
but I can still cup it just a little bit,
Yeah, yeah.
and then place there. But I have a non-slip glove that keeps it from moving around too much. That way, when I've got it on the
Yeah.
body somewhere,
Yeah.
that it doesn't move.
I'm fascinated by the transference of electrical impulses or signals through,
Yeah.
because it feels almost like a little like mini thunderstorm or a lightning storm, right?
Yeah, no, I can see that.
And
Well, it's like Reiki, right?
yeah, right.
Yeah.
I had talked to a friend of mine, MJ Stewart, about fascia, and how fascia is, I believe that medical science is now understanding that fascia is sort of like an electrical neuro network that is covering all of your muscles and covering your entire body. And I'm wondering if the vibrations from that bowl are hitting your fascia and then transferring from your fascia to my fascia. I would love to see the science of that.
I would. So I'm no scientist.
Do you play one on TV?
But and I don't play one on TV either. So, you've seen the balls, like the little Tesla balls,
Yeah.
where it's got these shocking things, and you put your hand up against there, and it goes right toward it. If there were no interaction between skin and some form of electrical conduit in your skin, and then nothing would happen when you touch that ball.
Yeah.
But it does.
Yeah.
And when you're rubbing your feet across the carpet and you touch someone else, well, that's a large static discharge from one to the next because we conduct electricity.
Yeah.
We
And
just do.
I'm just wondering if the fascia is the primary vehicle for that charge. And that's just a curiosity point that now I'm going to look up when you know, when we're done. I'm going to be like,
Well,
oh.
no, I'd be interested in that as well.
Yeah.
I've been looking into Reiki, kind of trying to take the best of all of them, meld them together, and say, all right, what works best? Focusing, of course, on the sound and the frequencies, but transferring, which is why I hold it as well.
Sure.
Because it's the electricity from me, the vibration from the bowl coming together, warming the vibration, warming up my hand, and warming up then where it is placed.
Sure. Do you find that when you've activated a tone and you have placed your hand on the body, that you can direct where that goes in the body, or do you just let it do what it's going to do?
So, well, the focus point, yeah, I mean, it kind of starts off going into one place, but then at that point, once it hits the medium of the innards of your body,
sure,
it's just going to go where it's going to go.
That makes sense.
But where it goes in, that is the main focus point.
Okay.
So by continuing the tone, continuing the strength of that tone through the body into that particular place, then that is the strongest place that it's going.
Okay.
So it's concentration.
Yeah.
And then after a while, it's going to dissipate throughout the body, hitting wherever it's going to go.
Okay.
Chaos theory,
Wee.
I guess. Again, I'm no physicist. I'm a doctor, not a physicist. No, I'm not a doctor either. Can't claim either one of those.
Yeah, me neither. Life is hard.
Yeah. It's not as hard if you're a doctor, I guess.
I guess it's hard in different ways.
Yeah, true.
Yeah. What made you, what started your fascination?
With, you got to narrow that down.
Yeah.
I'm fascinated by a lot of things.
Yeah. What started the fascination with the idea of sound?
I don't know, really. I was trying to, I think because I had ended up with this bowl, and I've had this bowl forever and a day. Matter of fact, I think my wife bought this for me some time back, or we were together, and she says, "Oh, you play that pretty well. You should buy it."
Yeah.
Like, oh well, twist my arm, and so we did, and we've had this one forever.
It's beautiful,
and it is a lovely bowl. I didn't make it, of course, but whenever I have a stressful day or something, or feel kind of anxious, which for me, to be fair, is rare, but then I go straight to either this or one of my drums.
Okay.
And it is the rhythm and the vibration of either this or the drums that will just help to calm me down more. So this one is around 366 hertz. Well, the green bowl, the one that I kind of identify with a lot, is 350 hertz. So there's only 16 hertz difference between these two.
Yeah, and it's odd to see the size difference.
That's what she said.
I know.
Yeah, so because of the type of material that it is.
Yeah. Brass?
Yeah, it's brass.
Okay.
It is a smaller bowl, but still will have that.
Oh, it packs a punch.
Yeah, it does.
It's just, woo.
That's because it's metal.
Yeah.
So
I really like the resonance.
yeah, I love that one. And then this one as well. This one I got just recently, as a matter of fact.
Yeah.
I call this my golf ball because it's got little dimples all
Yeah.
over it. But that's how I remember it.
Yeah. Ooh. That feels more like a temple bell,
Yeah,
you know?
yeah. So normally when I start a session, I'll use either this or a very similar frequency on my tongue drum that I'll start off with.
Yeah.
And normally I do 7
Okay.
to start off
Is
for
number
each of the
7?
chakras. Yeah, for each of the chakras.
Okay.
Yeah, just to cover each of them. I am not a. This might seem heretical to some people in the circles. I am not a full believer in the chakras,
Mm-hmm.
but I do know that certain parts of your body do kind of tend to lead you in certain ways. You know, you got the
Yeah.
crown chakra where you've got folks that are probably more cerebral.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's focused on the brain, obviously.
Yeah.
The third eye, which is, it's obviously close to your other 2 eyes, but it
Yeah.
focuses on that which you can't see. So it's more of an intuition
Mm-hmm.
on the frontal lobe of the brain. And then the throat, and for a lot of you, you already know all of this. And then for the throat, those who probably use their voice more than anything, or rely on
public
their voice.
speaking.
Yeah,
Yeah.
any sort of public speaking
Yeah.
or politicians. People who get up and they use their voice to convey ideas.
Yeah.
Then the heart, which is that's where I tend to focus. So that's one of my 2 focuses.
Yeah.
Is the heart, and then your sacral, and then your root.
Mm-hmm.
So each of those has still a physical aspect to it, obviously.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That is where your heart is,
Mm-hmm.
and
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
whenever you're listening to music that's got a good bass line to it, and when it hits you,
right there.
right there,
Mhm.
it's hitting you throughout your entire body, pretty much the same,
Yeah.
but you feel it the most on that thing that creates the rhythm
Interesting.
within your own body.
That's fascinating. Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
So, yeah, the placement of each of the devices, where you make the sounds, whether it's a tuning fork or a bowl or whatever,
Yeah. Yeah.
kind of it just equates to each of those physical manifestations within you.
Okay. Okay.
So while there may be the actual alignment of the mystical within the chakra,
Mm-hmm.
I focus on the physical aspect and more the emotional aspect,
Okay.
because that's really what I focus on, is what is the emotional draw that someone is coming in for, and where does the sound need to be concentrated or focused for that particular session.
Yeah. I know you're kind of just getting started with this.
Yeah.
What is with one of your sessions?
Yeah.
How powerful is I would imagine that there's some sort of release. You know, how do you get clients that are that weep afterwards, or that just have this profound sense of gratitude or happiness?
Well, I've not had any weeping yet, so that's good. I'm not sure how I'd take that, to be honest with you. I'm sure
Yeah.
that at some point there will be that emotional release,
Yeah.
and it will happen. Matter of fact, it even says that. I brought my the info sheet. It even says, well, this could happen. It could.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I'm, for the first time that ever happens to you with much of anything, you're going to go, oh, so that's what it means.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I'm sure everybody's going to react differently. Some people are just going to fall asleep.
Yeah.
So my my wife, as a matter of fact, was my first victim, and she was offering me great feedback at the end of it as well. But during that, I said, okay, just experience everything. Tell me afterward.
Okay.
And at a couple of points, she was just almost falling asleep, which is great because right now she's kind of having some difficulties sleeping, and so the various very low frequency vibrations and tones were helping her to get into a more calm meditative state. And then other feelings that she had was more of an exhilaration, depending on the frequency and where the bowl was.
Yeah.
So it varied throughout the session. And at the end, she wanted me to do it again. Maybe not right then and there, but she was like, okay, yeah, let's do that again. So I obviously didn't suck too badly the first time.
Outstanding. Good to hear.
Which
it bodes well.
it does bode well. But she had a couple of different reactions from it.
Yeah.
Rather than just one. So depending on, again, where it's placed and what frequency you're working with, you can have a number of different reactions.
Yeah.
But I'll let you know if somebody starts crying the next time.
Did she notice any kind of delayed reaction, that it may be a couple of days later, anything that the tones or frequencies brought up for her?
I didn't ask her that.
Okay.
I'll ask her that, though.
Okay.
Yeah. Because I've got... I know I'm going off of the camera here. So
This is a professional studio.
It is
sir.
a professional studio. So this is my feedback.
Oh.
You can't see it really because of the light, but it's all written there. Take my word for it. That's the feedback that she gave me. And so I was writing the things down and said, okay, just tell me.
Yeah. I've just sucked away 1 year.
Yeah.
Ago.
Yeah. How do you feel? And remember, this is for science or for posterity. I got to watch that again. I've only watched it 50 times, so I'm sure the 51st time I'll remember it.
Oh yeah, definitely.
But yeah, it's my note.
That's exciting.
The note keeping thing, and that was one of the things that she liked was the bowl. That I was holding the bowl, and then it was placed on her, and then the tone was created.
Yeah. Did you try both placing it directly on the skin and then holding it?
Yeah.
Okay.
It was too heavy.
Okay.
As mentioned, and so one of the things, if I do get a smaller bowl like the one that you have, the 680 that you've got, is I've got a heating blanket because they're metal,
and I would imagine they're quite cold.
so they're gonna be cold.
Out.
Yeah, you go, ah! I'll wake you up.
Right.
So warming those up a little bit, and then putting the smaller ones on there. But the problem is, the smaller ones. See, you have to cup it. It's like feeding a horse, right? When you're feeding a horse an apple,
don't want the fingers going away with
you
the
want to
apple.
keep your fingers. So if you hold the bowl too much, then you just don't get the tone.
Yeah,
Give one
it
of my
mutes it.
mallets. So it's like Whereas if I make a nice cup, then the least amount of contact that I can make with the bowl, then it's the harmonies the frequencies are going to go throughout the bowl and not into me. Because that's what's happening right now, is that I'm disrupting all of the tiny little molecules that are bumping into each other, and I'm causing them to stop.
Yeah.
But
Brute.
I know, it's so rude. But if I'm
That's a goodwill find.
But if I'm barely touching it, that's a
find.
good bowl. I like that.
I know. It
And
was
it's,
$4. It was just
and
like,
it's got
how can
Buddha.
I not?
You got Buddha in the
Right?
bowl, right? Buddha in the bowl. In the bowl.
Back in bowl.
Back in bowl. That was a good movie.
It was a good movie.
Yeah. So with smaller bowls, I'll probably try the placement actually on the body
Okay.
after I heat them up.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Now I brought my
Lump of copper.
It's my lump of copper. Yeah, so I've got a copper sphere here. There we go. Copper helps to, as you know, focus electricity, focus
Yeah.
energy. And what I like to use it for, even though it is cold, and I keep it cold, I'll let you feel that, and that the weight to it.
That's actually kind of nice.
It is. Even with it being cold, you
Yeah.
can focus on that. And so it tends to mentally focus your energy as well,
Interesting.
so that you're holding that during the session.
Okay, so this would be in a palm, and then you would. Oh,
Yeah.
interesting. So this is ground.
That's essentially what it's
Okay,
doing.
yeah.
It is grounding you to help focus your energy.
Yeah.
Because if you're just lying there, right, and you're like,
Mm-hmm.
what do I do with my
these.
hands? Whereas if you've got something that you've got to focus on, kind of like a fidget toy,
Yeah.
then you're making sure that you don't drop it.
Yeah.
Now, if you fall asleep, that's something different,
Yeah.
because that's going to happen. But
Yeah.
you can at least focus that. You can move your hands around it, and you've got this tangible object that is weighty. It's small,
And you have to
and
pay
it's cold,
attention
and you
to
have
it.
to pay attention to it,
Yeah.
rather than paying attention on, oh, did I turn off the oven? Did I make the coffee for
Oh,
tomorrow?
the monkey mind.
Oh,
Yeah.
I wonder what the kids are doing right now. I hope they're not tearing up the house. Oh, did I feed the dogs? So all of that
Yeah.
helps to take some of that away.
Okay.
I can't guarantee that it's going to take everything,
Yeah.
but at least it gives you something. Even if your eyes are closed and you're not looking at it, it gives you something tangible and weighty
Mm-hmm.
to focus your energy.
Nice. I like the ground idea. That's great.
Yeah, we were in. I wish I could remember the name of the shop in Fredericksburg. It's just off of Route 3. It'll come to me after a little bit. Lovely lady that runs the shop. Looking at it from Highway 3, you would not think that it's got crystals and bowls and incense and copper balls.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah.
all of the cool things that are within there.
Yeah.
Because it looks like a lawyer's office from the
Okay.
outside. But as soon as
Okay.
you walk in, you're like, oh, it smells nice. It feels nice, and it's calming. And so that's
Oh, fantastic.
where I found that,
Okay.
and I had to buy it.
Well, yeah. Oh my
It's like,
gosh.
it called to me.
Are there any bowls that call to you? Like if you're in a place and you see one and you're like, oh shit, I can't leave without that one.
Yeah, well, so this has been the only one that I could not leave without.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I've looked around for the bowls. Like, okay, I need to get some. I was searching specifically for bowls at that point. This one, I wasn't looking for anything. We were just walking around the shop.
Yeah.
I went, oh, it's a singing bowl. And like I said, we've had this for years, and I don't even remember where I got it or how long we've had it. It's been that long.
Yeah.
But as soon as I saw it, I picked it up and went, oh, so how does this thing work? And this was the mallet that came along with it. I'm like, oh. I like that. And then the lady came over and showed me and said, so what you want to do is, originally she showed me around the top rim. But
Ooh, you get less of that tinny. Okay.
you actually get a lower frequency as well,
All right.
going around the rim,
Yeah.
than you do around the bowl itself. And so,
Oh wow, that's nice. Ooh, it's all tingly.
yeah, it's got a lovely vibration to it. And every time I play it, I'm like, playing with myself with the bowl.
Well, you know what? As long as it works.
As you do, yeah. As long as it works, like, it's all right.
Are you thinking of wanting to get into this as a hobby, or as to offer it as a service to the community, or
Yes.
Okay.
I've got so many things that interest me, to be honest with you. As you know, I've brought some of my art as well, and I've been a photographer for 30 some odd years.
Yeah.
I've recently started doing sculpting.
Hmm.
I'm not very good at it. Started doing the sound therapy. I started collecting drums some time back.
Yeah.
I started teaching myself Python
Mm.
because, yeah, see, it like that, right?
Yeah.
Like that,
Oh yeah, like
sure,
a
just
glove,
goes together.
man.
But these are, I don't know if I would call them hobbies per se.
Hmm.
They're passions that I've actually been able to go and start manifesting,
Mm.
which it's different, you know.
It's very different.
Um,
And man, hobby can sound like such a dismissive word now that I think about it. You know, you and your little hobbies. It's like,
yeah,
I'm a rock star, dude. Like,
yeah,
I'm on stage. Oh no, that hobby, it'll die down.
yeah.
You know, so it's
Like jigsaw puzzles.
right.
For me, a jigsaw puzzle is a hobby. We like doing jigsaw puzzles.
Yeah.
We don't do them very frequently, but when we do, we all kind of get together and we hyper focus on that as a family, and it's
Mm-hmm.
super cool because then we make jokes and poke fun at each other,
Mm-hmm.
and we're all there together doing the same puzzle.
Yeah.
That's kind of a hobby to me, something that bring you together and kind of focus you a little bit. No, that's kind of cool, but
Yeah.
you can walk away from it and you don't feel any lesser because of
Mm.
it.
Okay.
Um,
Okay.
there are certain things, however, that will call to you
Mm-hmm.
that will draw you toward it.
Yeah.
And when you don't do it, you know it.
Yeah, you feel diminished. You
Yeah.
feel like there's yeah.
Yeah.
I get that.
There is less of that creative nature that I'm able to well create, for lack of a better term.
Yeah.
There's less that I'm able to create and put out into the world.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of artists do say that they create for themselves.
Yeah.
I don't.
Yeah.
I create through myself,
Mm-hmm.
but what I really like to do is share that passion that I have for something
Mm-hmm.
with somebody else.
Yeah.
And so that's why I started really getting the certification in the sound healing and started buying the crystal bowls and more stuff that I've got in the studio right now.
Yeah.
We repurposed our massage bed. We went out and bought the linens, the blankets, the lumbar pillow that I was talking to you
Nice.
about. Other decorations, I've got a glowing Buddha head, which is kind of cool because you put a little tea light in it,
Oh,
and then
nice.
you put oils in the top and let it go.
So
But
there's a little aromatherapy going.
there's a
as
little
well.
aromatherapy. And so being able to share that with other folks,
Mm-hmm.
it is kind of why I do a lot of hobbies.
Huh.
But they're passions.
Mm-hmm.
And with this one, and with art as well, so the two together, my wife has wanted to do an art therapy degree for some time
Yeah.
to help veterans. And matter of fact, we were part of a group in Tampa that was called Paint 22. Actually, it is called Paint 22,
Mm-hmm.
that helps veterans to help reduce suicide rate among
That's
veterans.
fantastic.
And they'll do not just painting,
Mm-hmm.
but other things in the arts that will help them to voice what conflicts are going on inside them.
To kind of maybe purge some of the
Yeah.
stuff they've seen.
Exactly.
Okay.
So mixing the sound therapy, which is an alternative therapy
Mm-hmm.
for folks,
Mm-hmm.
and perhaps some art therapy
Mm-hmm.
in there as well. So
Yeah.
bringing in my wife's, and you've seen Rachel's
Yeah. Yeah.
paintings and drawings. Being able to then take that and help the community so that they can heal.
Yeah.
And we've been talking with a friend of mine who is a psychologist.
Mm-hmm.
He's a clinical psychologist, behavioral psychologist. I know I'm going to get it wrong, and Rob's probably out there. Sorry. But he's a psychologist and a good dude and a veteran.
Mm-hmm.
So we've been chatting about, all right, well, what does this look like? Or, how can we actually do it?
Yeah.
Setting up a nonprofit organization
Mm-hmm.
to help folks heal
Mm-hmm.
using different methods.
Yeah. Yeah.
That there are tried and true medical professionals out there that do a fantastic job.
Yeah.
Please go talk to a medical professional. Make sure that they do what they are trained to do.
Oh yeah.
But maybe augment that with some other non-traditional or alternative sessions, art sessions, sound healing sessions,
Yeah.
to kind of address a lot of different things. And so that's it is a passion, and then giving that passion back to the community,
Yeah.
kind of as a service.
Yeah. Beautiful.
So that's what really, again, that
Yeah.
I don't want to break my arm to pat myself on the back, but I do tend to focus on things of the heart,
Yeah.
and so
Yeah.
that's why.
Fantastic.
That's one reason why.
Fantastic. Let's talk about your art.
Let's do it.
Yeah. How long you been doing the art and the photography thing?
So I started photography in high school,
Oh, okay.
way back in the day,
When dinosaurs roamed the
when
earth.
dinosaurs roamed the earth.
I was there. I had a club as well.
I had my lasso, and I caught me one. My dad had a Minolta XG1. It's a
Oh, wow.
film camera. So film, for all of you younger viewers, is a plastic medium upon which there are photoreactive chemicals. So that's when I started. I started with a 35 millimeter Minolta XG1.
Yeah.
And
Did you develop your own pictures?
oh yes,
Nice.
yes, that
Right.
smell is still up my nose. And I developed my own at various times up until the point that Rachel was pregnant with our first, and she said, "That crap's got to get out of here because it is a pungent smell."
Yeah. Yeah.
So I thought, all right. So that started getting developed elsewhere. But the photography still kept going on. So from, I could probably point to 1989, 1990.
Mm-hmm.
I was in high school. I was taking a college photography class at the local junior college.
Mm-hmm.
And I was sold
Yeah.
from that point, and then kept going. And I've been in a lot of school publications, and other publications outside of school. What else? Did solo exhibitions at a couple of places. I've got a couple of pieces hanging in the U.S. Embassy in Madrid.
Nice.
And
So
then,
I guess you're a big shot. It's a pretty big deal.
well, I thought you knew that. I'm only a big deal in my brain. That's yeah. That's why I don't get out much.
I hear that. I hear that.
But probably I was in Tampa.
Mm-hmm.
I want to say I was in Tampa at the time, and I said, you know what? I had this idea for some time, and I can't do it by myself, because what I wanted to do is mix two media together, and I'm a photographer, and I'm a mechanical guy, so mixing mechanical stuff, and photography, no problem. I can do that.
Yeah.
But painting, nope, not me.
Oh wow.
I tried. I can paint a wall.
Mm-hmm.
You bet.
Yeah.
Paint a bathroom.
Yeah.
Perfect. But
Making pictures.
making pictures.
Yeah.
Nope.
So that's
Nope.
a bit harder.
Can't do that. I mean, I can probably do like Jackson Pollock style.
Oh
Take a paintbrush and go.
yeah. Yeah.
A lot of you people that like Jackson Pollock are probably really mad at me right now for diminishing his work. But it's abstract art. I don't understand the method to do it. I understand color theory, but again, the actual application of the painting, not so much. So I had this discussion with my best friend and said, "Hey, dude, you're pretty good at painting and drawing. Let's chat." So I printed out one of the ones I had taken in Spain, and it was like a 16 by 24, and said, "Here you go."
Yeah.
And it was a photo of a large armoire. It's probably about yay wide altogether. And then on the door there was a mirror, and so I had opened up the door a little bit and then stood behind the door, and you could see my legs.
Ah.
That was the photo.
Okay.
And I handed it to him, and I said, "Can you paint something in where that mirror area is?"
Yeah.
And that was the first instance of a piece that came out of the Framed Artists group,
Okay.
which is mixing two different artists and two different media. And I couldn't do it. So that's why I needed other people who had that specialty. So my wife and I have collaborated on a piece. I had a photo, and she painted that. I think you saw that, the one with the blue swag.
Yeah.
And then all together, I think there are about 8 or 9 different artists that I've collaborated with. That I've got a photo. I say, "Here you go. This is kind of what I'm thinking." I'll give them a generic concept. And then I'll disappear. And then they'll work on something or other, and they'll come and say, "What do you think?" And I had absolutely no expectation because I didn't know. I'm like, "Wow, that's fantastic."
Right.
They said, "Well, is that what you were thinking?" I said, "No."
Exactly.
Because
this is so much better.
But this is so much better.
Yeah.
Because I had no thought of what you were going to do. I mean, I had a kind of an idea, but
Yeah.
so that's how that came about. And so I've done that with several artists, and that was all down in Tampa.
Okay.
Beautiful art community down there. Absolutely loved it. I'm still friends with a lot of the folks that are from that community. Some have stayed, some have moved other places, but I'm still in contact with them. And those pieces have been displayed at a number of different locations.
Very cool.
Of course, they're all artists in their own right, and they have their own stuff that they do and make great shows. And I'm like, that's awesome.
Yeah.
But I feel better as a person having been impacted by their art and mine together.
Yeah, it's a wonderful sharing, collaborative kind of process.
There it is over there.
Right.
Let me grab this one.
Okay.
So this is one of the more recent ones. I'll put it up. Here we go. There we go. I'm going to block my own face there.
Get out of the shot so they kind of come on.
So
Focus. There we go.
Yeah,
right.
what you don't see on this, viewers at home, is there it is. So this piece right here is actually a separate piece. There we go. You can kind of see the profile now. That's a separate piece of canvas. So I had taken the photograph and handed him the whole thing. This was done by Skylar Burnham, a fantastic tattoo artist down in St. Pete. And I had said, all right, well, here's the size of the canvas that I had on here, and it had given him a piece of canvas that was that same shape and size.
Yeah.
And so what he had done was then you can kind of see, here, I'll move that just a little bit so you can see there we go, still separate. He had painted that, and then we adhered it onto it. So that's...
And then extended some of the tentacles out of it.
Yeah.
So that it kind of
So
flowed into the picture.
what I haven't done yet, but I'm going to, is actually to take this canvas piece off and adhere it to a little flat piece of wood so that it looks like it's its own canvas on this easel.
That'll be nice.
I just haven't done it yet.
No, that's fantastic.
And then, again, going back to I can do mechanical stuff.
Yeah.
So I did. And then, so I found this squeezy banana, and I couldn't resist because I like puns. and other wordplay and that sort of stuff. So I had taken one of the photographs that I'd done some time back, and for those more sensitive viewers out there. Oop, there we go. It's over here out of the. Oops, sorry. The light is kind of.
There we go.
There you go.
Yeah,
There
You
we
get the
go.
Yeah.
That
yeah.
is a squeezy banana.
Yes, it is. Wait.
Yep.
Yep.
And so this one has been at a number of shows. It's called Happy to See Me, by the way.
It's so fantastic.
It's been at a number of shows where folks are typically very reluctant
To squeeze the banana.
to reach out and touch the art. And for, good reason. Most artists don't want them going, hey, that's a nice painting you got there, and get their grubby little mitts all over it. However, I'm not that dude. So I had that one, and at the first show, people didn't know who I was as far as the artist was concerned, but I was standing there, and somebody had come up, and there were two folks that were talking, and they were going, and me being me, I said, I think you're supposed to grab it.
Ooh, how daring!
Because it actually said that on the thing beside there. Hey, feel free to
Please.
touch or squeeze. I forget what the wording was.
Please touch.
Yeah, please touch. And so they said, really? I said, oh yeah, just give a squeeze. And so, looking around to just to make sure that nobody was looking, they. And that was it, because somebody over there saw them doing it, and so they immediately came over and started playing with it. And then I keep getting sent pictures from folks that had taken it at different exhibitions.
That's fantastic.
And some of them are a little,
Oh my. oh, I can only imagine.
but people are interacting with the art. It's brought them in.
Whether
It's made them.
digitally or orally.
Yeah. Or fruitily in this.
Frugally.
In this instance. But I really want people to interact with art. I really do. If I'm going to be doing multi or mixed media, then I want the viewer to be part of the experience, not just to go and be a spectator and look at it. And that was the first one where I started doing that. So I've got several more in mind.
Yeah.
And I brought this is one of my most recent ones that I've got to reprint because I used an adhesive that didn't work well.
Oh, I see. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's bubbling a little bit, but
I do love it. I do.
Oh yeah, so I'll hold this one up.
Oh, there you go.
There, I'll try to get without the.
Yeah.
So, that.
That's so
There we go.
fantastic. And what do you call this one?
This is called The Power. Because, that's where the power is. So that was a model that I had worked with. I think they're out of DC, and we did a shoot, and I said, "Hey, I've got this idea. You want to shoot this?" And I explained it, and she said, "Oh, that sounds great."
Yeah.
And so we took that. Now I've got to actually get it all fixed. I already have it reprinted.
Yeah, nice.
Now I've got to recut it, take the box out of there, rewire it carefully so I don't shock the crap out of myself.
Hold the copper ball, man.
Yeah.
Fine.
What could possibly go wrong? Here,
There you go.
put it in my mouth.
There you go.
I've got another group. It's another series with the framed artist group as well, that was inspired by some brass glasses. So they're these glasses that are about yay big, and they've got a handle on them. We were visiting my sister in East Texas, and it went into an antique shop, and there they were in the window, calling to me. I said, "Oh, I've got to have those."
Oh yeah.
No. Yeah, no. Yeah. So finally I said, "No, I'm not going to get those." We all walked out, and I said, "I'm going to go back. I got to get those." And went back, and I got them, and have done, I think, 5 different ones where each of the models is holding that up to about, out just a little bit to make them slightly larger. And then
Are they like opera glasses?
no, they look more like magnifying glasses.
Okay.
Yeah. So I
Okay.
mean, they're the brass rings on them are about yay big around,
Okay.
and the glass in the middle is about just slightly smaller than that.
Okay.
You can't see a damn thing through them, to be perfectly honest with you. But they made a nice large surface, and so each of the models is holding them out. That's printed onto a canvas.
Mm-hmm.
I handed that off to, again, a different artist each time.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, can you paint something in there?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And so they did. They all did something completely different from one another. And then that one is actually in a 18-inch round frame. Each of those is in a, I've got 5, and they're each in a different round 18-inch frame. But the work that they did was just fantastic in that small little area. I'm like, that's cool.
Was it just on the lenses?
Well, so this is why I'm happy that artists don't listen very well to instructions.
Okay.
Because I said, the words that I actually said were, I need something painted in there.
Mm-hmm. But you didn't specify what there was.
Well,
So it was
I did. I didn't specify that that's the only place that needed to be done.
Okay. Okay.
And so because I didn't say, don't paint anywhere else, all right, you definitely need something there, okay.
Yeah.
But what about here and here and here on one? So one of the other tattoo artists that I work with down there, Connor Hannon, had painted kind of a scar across here and some horns over there. And in the eyes, it was a melting smiley face. It was fantastic. I mean, it's absolutely fantastic. So that one is black and white.
Yeah.
And so all of the color that he made pop on there was really
Just savage commentary on capitalism.
Yeah, sure. We'll go with that.
Oh, that sounds fantastic, though.
Yeah, but the art, so I have to create. It just, if I don't, it makes me not upset, makes me more, I hesitate to say anxious, but I feel like I am missing a part of me if I don't create something. And I've got a sketchbook that I have these stupid ideas. And I'm like, okay, I'm going to come up with this idea. Where did I get this? And hey, let's do it. I've talked to you to a couple of them that I still want to do that I just haven't done yet.
Yeah, we need to make that happen.
And being able to take a thought, as random it may seem at the time, and actually put it into execution and say, look, hey, this is the weird stuff that goes on in my brain.
Yeah.
And I've had some pretty positive response. I mean, I sold several pieces when I was down in Tampa.
Yeah.
But the fact that people will walk by something, oh, I gotta have that.
That's such a good.
And that is such a good feeling. Just the fact that they connect to it as much, and they're like, I'm thinking I created this thing, and now they are emotionally attached to this creation that I made. It's affirming. I'm not going to lie. It's nice when somebody appreciates the work that you've done, but the fact that you're able to create something and somebody else is going to take it home and it's going to be theirs, that I dig that.
Yeah, I dabble in art myself, and whenever somebody buys my art, I'm always like, a part of me is hanging on someone's wall because they liked it, and that's a phenomenal feeling.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah,
it's super cool.
Yeah.
What else?
Let's see. Did you have other notes on sound that you wanted to share?
I have a notebook.
Oh, you came prepared.
I did come prepared. In fact, I'll hand this to you because that's one of the things that I was going to chat with you about. So you can have a look over that. And what I'll do is I'll go through my quick notes. a lot of the sound therapy is focused on intentions, right? So what are your intentions of coming in to the session? You're certainly not going to want very low and rhythmic sort of tones. If you really want to be invigorated, you want some sort of motivation, or you want to be energized, and that's not going to do it.
Yeah.
So talking with people and communicating.
I know. Oof, such a dirty word.
I know. And communicating with them is key. Even if, you know, that's the first 15 minutes of an hour session is the communication portion. Because if you don't communicate, if you don't get the intentions of what are you hoping to achieve out of this, then you're both going to be frustrated at the end.
Yeah.
So I've written some formulas, if you will,
Oh, nice.
for different intentions that I have here. And one is calming, one is mental clarity, and one is invigoration.
Oh, that's fantastic.
And as I go, I'll create more as I start talking with people.
Yeah.
But the calming, for instance, is
It's like little recipes.
it is, yeah.
Sound
It's a sound recipe. It's for giving sound advice.
Have you ever thought of, is there anything that you could add into the bowl that would not affect the sound? Like maybe a couple of like certain herbs that promote.
You could do.
Is that something you could kick in? You think
Yeah,
that would help?
you certainly could do, and that adds the aromatherapy back into it as well. I love aromatherapy. I really do. We have a whole mess of different oils,
Yeah.
and we burn incense quite frequently in the home as well, which probably drives our teenager nuts. It's like, oh my God, we all stop burning that stuff. But we love it, and adding in the natural smells to that. That small weight in there isn't going to disturb the frequencies that much, because again, they're down at the bottom, resting on the bottom, and they're light, and so they're not actually they're not dissipating the vibrations. If you put anything weighty inside there, or starts coming up the sides, just like, do you ever get a wine glass and you start with water in it, and you start running your finger around there?
With water, and it just sounds amazing.
Yeah. They're super cool. But the thing is that it changes the frequency.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
And it wavers because the water moves.
Yeah. Yep. It does. And what's cool is that you can see the actual waves.
Yeah.
The sound wave. So sound waves are mechanical waves. You've got electromagnetic waves, and then you've got mechanical waves, and the sound created by these sound bowls are mechanical waves because it is something making the sound through a medium, and so it has to move through a medium. The medium can be air, it can be a solid, it can be liquid, and water is one of the best mediums. So sound will move through water 5 times faster than it will through air.
Okay. Well, I would imagine that because we can't see the air, we don't see the waves that the sound produces. But with water, it's easy to.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. So with a solid, the really large mechanical waves called earthquakes, you can see that movement.
I've never seen it. I think I would be terrified.
I think I would be too.
It would just be shit scary. Just the idea.
Well, the first time though, right? Because if you lived in that environment, and again, going back to the first time you saw somebody was crying, I wouldn't know what to do.
Yeah.
But the first time you saw an earthquake, I haven't seen one, but the first time I see one, I'm gonna be freaked out.
Oh yeah.
Because the earth is moving, and the earth shouldn't move like that. I mean, it does anyway, regardless of what I think it should and shouldn't do.
Oh, yeah. I mean, but you're used to your paradigm is that the earth doesn't move, and so your entire life the earth doesn't move, and then you go to California, and then holy fuck, the earth is moving. That's got to be like a whole
freaky.
Oh shit! This whole living thing just went like leveled up.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So yeah.
But that's got to be a massive amount of energy to cause that.
To cause buckling in the road and stuff like that. Yeah.
Exactly. Sound, these these small little bowls that I have here, on a geologic scale, these sound bowls are super, super tiny. But if I'm doing that through water, which is much more malleable sort of medium, then you can see the ripples that are going across there.
Oh,
And it's really cool to see. You think back to Jurassic Park, right?
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
it kind of goes back to sound because the Tyrannosaurus is really big and lumbering, and it's got a boom, a rhythm. It's creating a rhythmic frequency,
Yeah.
and that frequency is vibrating through the solid, up through another solid, into that glass,
Yeah.
which is liquid, and you can see the frequency of that tone that he's creating.
Well, and the way it was depicted in the movie, like I could almost feel along with the water. That was a well placed
Oh yeah,
theatrical trick.
yeah.
Yeah.
But there are sound baths. There's I won't say misnomer.
Because water's rarely involved in a sound bath. It's
Water is
usually-
rarely involved. Yeah, it's now you can, but the sound bath is you're bathing in sound.
Yeah.
You're not bathing and there happens to be sound.
Yeah.
But
although
although
one could.
there are sessions, and I've looked at them online as well, to say, hey, is there anybody that does this? Well, there are people that do it, and they're floating. The people are floating, and then the bowls are placed on these large floating mats as well.
Oh, that's got to be real interesting.
It is pretty cool.
Oof.
And then the tone, because it's not a solid that is like my hand, that is that's causing the vibration to dissipate. It's the water that helps that medium, or excuse me, the water that is the medium that helps the sound to then resonate throughout. You've got a different tone and just go, ooh. So one of these days, if I find a person with a pool and they're willing to let me try it out, I'm gonna give it a whirl.
I'm wondering if you found like an old ceramic bathtub, and kind of placed one of the bowls on the edge, and if it would ring through the bathtub, and then. But I mean, I would imagine that the bathtub is going to be a bit of a dampener, but you'll still have.
Yeah. So
buzzing.
with that medium, it's as a solid.
Yeah.
And not a circular solid. That's part of the problem.
Yeah.
Is that it won't resonate as much because the vibrations can't make the circle.
At the parts that don't contact.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So if you take a look, I mean, you can get a square bathtub, and you make the sound vibration. That sound vibration will be circular still. Sound waves.
That makes sense.
Sound waves come from a central point, and then the mechanical wave causes them to go out circular.
Yeah.
Because they'll create a sine wave throughout there from that one central point.
Yeah.
Just like when you blow up a square balloon, well, it's going to go and be circular because it's equal pressure going on all places. And it's the same thing with like a bathtub.
Okay, so I would imagine it's like the sound would go and then come back, and the way that sound usually does. Okay, all right.
Yeah. Now, if you had like a perfectly round bathtub, which would be kind of cool.
That would be really cool.
There's these like our hot tub is round, but there's things that are kind of blocking it, but it's more round than a lot of others, and so that would be probably a better sort of location for it. But still, I think it'd be groovy either way.
I would imagine that sound doesn't travel very well fiberglass, though.
Yeah, probably not. Just put a whole bunch of concrete on the other side of it, make it come back.
Just glass, fuck it, glass hot tub.
Why not?
Right.
God. Glass pools up on the top of the high rises and stuff. Do a glass hot tub.
No.
That'd be kind of awesome.
I mean, the glass would have to be really thick. I mean, we're talking aquarium thick. Holy
yeah,
cow.
that is true, and it'd be difficult to make that whole thing around there. But
it could be done. I'm sure there's a billionaire out there who has it in their head. I need a round bathtub, and it's got to be made out of glass.
So Star Trek, here we go. This is
Right.
my love. I'm a nerd as well. I love Star Trek movies. When they did,
Same.
what was it? The Voyage Home, I think,
With the whales.
with the whales,
Yep.
and they created this metal and glass sort of thing that was transparent metal, essentially what it was, and it was great. And they created this whole big aquarium inside this spaceship, and it was pretty cool.
Yeah.
So maybe one day,
Maybe one day.
and then we'll do a sound bath
With whales.
with whales.
Well, if only there were whales here, Captain.
That'd be badass.
That would be badass.
It'd be a big ass sound bath.
Indeed.
But so going back to sound traveling through water as a better medium, I mean, think of how far sound travels when a whale is creating that sound. You know, they'll do a whale song and that will travel for.
I wonder if fish are like, could you fucking cut it out? 'Cause
Yeah.
that is just,
Dude, I'm trying to
Again?
sleep.
Oh.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Your song is just, it's on a scale that is too large for me to fathom.
Yeah. Either that or it's
two
just
stupid
this
puns right there.
beautiful orchestral thing, and fish just go, oh, okay, we're just, hang on.
We're just
Don't
gonna
eat-
chill.
Don't eat me just yet, because there's, you know,
Yeah.
I would like to think that it's like a nice concert for the fish.
We'll ask them next
Oh,
time. Just ask the fish.
right.
Yeah. So going back over this, going to the communication portion
Yeah.
is important. Getting the intent. How would somebody prepare for it? What do they need to do beforehand? What do they wear during? And then on the second couple of pages, to help with the communication portion, okay, here's my intent. Here are the areas where I want to focus. And so you can put X's and
Okay.
check marks and say, hey, this is where, I think there's only 2 pages.
Oh, gotcha.
It's just thick paper.
So it's pretty much, like a doctoral, a diagram you get at a doctor's office.
Yeah.
This is where my neck pain is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can you show me on the picture where it hurts?
Yeah.
Yeah. So that helps to focus where
Mm-hmm.
the person kind of feel, because you'll get a certain idea of where something will resonate. Oh, I got this sinking feeling in my stomach. Well, do they really? I mean, is it really a sinking feeling in their stomach? Are they feeling ill, or is it just that is
that is where a pain.
that
elsewhere
is
in the
where
body.
something happens to originate?
Yeah.
And so then you can focus on that and like, okay, mixed with where physically, now what is your intention for the sound bath? What do you want to accomplish?
I'd be interested to see if you end up chasing problems. Like maybe there's one here, and then now my heart,
That moved.
now my shoulder. I'm
I'm
wondering
sure
if-
it could be. I mean, the body is an amazing interconnected system. That I mean, you fix one thing and something else happens to pop up. But on the flip side of that is you perhaps have a pain which you can't quite pinpoint, and you kind of finally find the origin and you address that.
Yeah.
And that addresses all of the other ones because that's where it was originating. So maybe your arm isn't as sore because your right knee was now addressed or something. Something
the
along
cant
those
of
lines.
your hips is now different, and so
Yeah.
you're not compressing nerves.
Yeah.
Or
Exactly.
Okay.
But depending on that, so going back to the recipe book, the recipe book of intentions. Again, so the calming one, which you'll note, the first one I started with was green. I follow.
Yeah.
And then there are certain tones that go really well together and that kind of create a resonance with those two tones.
Okay.
Different than a binaural beat. I'll talk about that in a second. But they harmonize well. And then I've got where the placement of them, which I think the placement of them should be. So between the heart and the solar plexus.
Oh yeah.
So around a mid-body sort of thing. And then the golf ball, hammered bowl around the crown.
Ah, okay.
And then also the method. So slower rhythms, longer vibrations, and then fewers of the gongs
Okay.
on the side. So, with those,
Mm-hmm.
you can kind of build the session based off of where somebody feels that they need it and what their intention is.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then you get to, as I just mentioned about the binaural beat,
Yeah.
you get, in fact, I brought these two specifically. Just make sure I've got the right. That's exactly why I write stuff down. So I want to make sure I got the right ones, but I think I do. So binaural beats are when you take two separate frequencies that are normally within 10 to 15 hertz of one another, and you play them in concert with each other.
Okay.
Yeah, I was right. Small hammered. Okay. Then what will happen is in your brain will create a third frequency that is kind of the average of those two.
Okay.
So if you're at, we do math in public, so if you're at 350 and 360, then your brain will create a 355.
Interesting. Okay.
You won't hear it anywhere. You won't be able to record it necessarily, but they've done that with two separate sound receptors.
Yeah.
And in the middle of those, it created a 355.
Okay.
So let me grab this one, and not you, cut it out. Sometimes they get a little testy. So I'll have you hold that one.
Okay.
And if you hold it at the bottom.
All right. Hopefully my rings won't influence the sound.
Nah, that's all right.
Okay.
And then what I'll do is,
Try and cup it so that it's okay.
yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
You hear that?
Yeah.
That other frequency,
Yeah.
it's these two that are coming together,
Yeah.
and they're equalizing as a third frequency.
Oh, that's fascinating.
And so you can hear that,
Yeah.
and it's super cool. So that's
It is
that's a binaural beat.
Okay.
Is what those
I've
are.
seen a bunch of videos on YouTube where they have binaural beats and,
Yeah.
and solfeggio frequencies for healing, DNA repair, all that kind of thing.
Mhm.
And, I've listened to them, and I always wondered if there was like some subliminal shit in there, like buy our products, but at a really low level. But I haven't been overwhelmed with the need to buy anything. So
Listen to more frequencies. This is the universe speaking. Yeah, that's probably what it is too.
Was there anything else you wanted to add?
Yeah, take care of yourself. I mean, that's really what all of this is meant to do. It's to help people to take care of themselves. And this is just one way. But if you don't actually try different ways and actually make the effort to take care of yourself, then you're not there to take care of other people.
Yeah.
So it's not selfish to take care of yourself. It's making sure that you are there when somebody needs you.
Yeah.
That's all I got.
Yeah. And it's also pretty cool to be healthy.
Yeah, well, that helps too.
Yeah. Thank you so much for coming.
Certainly.
Yeah. Outstanding.
Glad to have been here. Thanks for inviting me.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you everybody for showing up. I think we're all set. And now you know more than you did. Thanks for coming by.